Welcome to my blog talk radio show, Live Your Music. I'm your host, Margaux Nader, and I'm a creative life balance coach, singer, songwriter, and the author of a book titled The Art of Living a Life You Love. I am happy and excited to have JoAnn Gramlich as my guest for Live Your Music this week. Join us for a conversation about JoAnn's inspiring and fun book, Talk, Play, and Read with Me, Mommy, and hear about her new book, Talk, Play, and Read with Me, Daddy, coming out this year. Welcome, JoAnn.
Hi, how are you?
I am excited to have you on the show. I just am so curious to hear more about. Yeah, I'm curious to hear more about your book, and I'm so glad that Jonathan Massalian has told me about you and your book and asked to have me to have you on your show because then you sent me the book, and I wish I had had that book back when our son was born in January 1990. I look back, looking through the book at the different phases that you talk about, the different ages and what they were doing. It brings back memories like it was yesterday, even though it was 30 years ago at this point that he was a baby. And, so let's see, 30, so 25 years ago when he got to the top age for your book, I guess. But
yes.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about your book, though, and about how it came to life and how your work with children inspired you in the process of putting it together. So tell us about that.
Sure. So when I first graduated from high school, I didn't immediately go to college, and I worked downtown in the business office team. And after so many years of that and, flip-flopping job to job here and there, and my brothers and sisters were having kids at the same time, I realized through the interactions with my niece and nephews that I enjoyed, the playful interactions and the adventurous fun we would have together, sleepovers at Aunt JoJo's house and going on road trips, anything you can name, we did it. And then I was coming to this point of frustration with the job because I just wasn't for me. I knew something wasn't right, but I wasn't exactly sure what I was going to do. So I decided to take a couple courses, at the local college, and I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed, the educational scene and that. And then I decided I really needed to make a decision on what, future career I might approach. And being that, like I said, all these positive interactions with my niece and nephews and, my friends were having kids and all that, I decided to look into classical teaching in the classroom. And then I wasn't quite sure that I wanted to, be with 25 kids all at once in a classroom. So somebody, I think a friend down the street from when I was growing up, mentioned this program about speech-language pathology, and I honestly had not heard of it at the time. So I went to the college and got the catalogs and researched it. And it just seemed really exciting because I could work with the kids individually, one-on-one, or in groups as small as, groups of 5. So I could really tap into their needs and, tap into their creative abilities and all that kind of fun stuff. So that's where I landed in speech-language pathology. So I did my degree at Buffalo State College, and then I did get a job while I was doing my master's. So I did that part, my schooling part-time while I was doing my master's. And let's see. So then while I was doing my master's, we had to do our thesis, and I decided to do parent involvement. And that allowed me to take students and, I could use them as data and basically come up with a master's thesis to promote parent involvement. And it was accepted with the ASHA group, and we presented it. And, very positive outcome, of course. The more interaction you have with your children, the more they're going to talk, and the sooner they'll get out of the speech and language program because they will get, master their goals. So I approached that. That went well. And then once I finished school, or college, I should say, I was kind of thinking, wow, all this work and I'm done and that's it. And lo and behold, this postcard came in the mail, and it was a writing course in Connecticut, correspondence course that you would do through the mail, about writing nonfiction or fiction articles for the Children's Institute of Literature. So I signed up for that, and I ended up going towards writing more nonfiction articles. So that allowed me to get some parenting articles published locally and in national publications.
Mm-hmm.
Then I was working, I also work, not only do I work for the Buffalo School District with the K through 7 population, I work through Erie County programs, ECMC, and an after-school program for early intervention and preschool programs to help kids with their speech needs and communication needs. So a lot of the theme there with the parents was generally, how am I going to get my kid to talk? This is taking a long time. And I decided that after writing the articles, I would tackle this book project. And everything just kind of came together. It was a process. I didn't really know exactly what I was doing, but I was willing to try to tackle it. And so I thought, well, the biggest thing is kids between birth and 5, the majority of learning takes place during daily routines within the home. So I kind of thought about, well, maybe come up with activities that are geared towards daily routines. And then also the way the book is set up, it's set up with 3 chapters, infant, toddler, and preschoolers. When I was doing the research, a lot of the books out there, activity books for parents and caregivers, are very heavy with activities, say 300 to 500 activities. And I was looking at them going, wow, exactly. I was looking at it going, wow, Tommy will be long gone by the time they find this perfect activity. So, because I know these kids are bumblebees and they're ready, set, go now, or it's over. So I decided that I would, design a book that was something that parents could carry with them in their diaper bags, book bags, what have you, take it to the doctor's office. Because so many times you see kids are being reprimanded because they can't sit still because they're not expected to sit still at these young ages. So this way, you can engage your child while, being in a doctor's office or maybe waiting in the line at the grocery store, any place that you feel like your child is just going to need some engagement or stimulation. So, and the book itself, it's pretty much like 3 books in one, and because you can modify or expand on the activities within the book. So, for example, 5 Little Monkeys is in the beginning of the book, a finger play song that with an infant, of course, you're just going to do the hand gestures. But by the time the child, is a toddler or preschooler, you can incorporate, finger play puppets, the actual furry, fuzzy monkeys. You can what else? Incorporate coloring activities, or there's actually the games, the 5 Little Monkeys game. By the time they're 3, 4, and 5, I do these activities all the time. And of course, even my little friends at school that are in kindergarten and 1st grade love these activities. So this is why it's really a handy book, because it targets. It's not really just birth through 5. It can target almost birth through 7. And, going from, because it's set up kind of like the kids are going to be learning, or the little ones will be learning. It goes from a progression of learning your sound to the syllable, to a word, to the words and phrases, to simple sentences, to more complex sentences, and then a conversation piece. So all kids can benefit from this book. And, of course, it's set up so easy for parents because it's like a recipe book. It's a guide that tells you what you need, what to expect, the kind of dialogue you would elicit in each interactive activity. And really, 2 and 3 minutes, if that. And then, of course, by the time in the preschool, they're a little bit longer, the activities, but I'd say 5-10 minutes. However, you can be more creative and, like I said, expand on the ideas or modify and make them shorter, just talking and stimulating by talking, playing, and reading with them. As it says, talk, play, and read with me, Mommy. So that's what's going on.
And
even look, and if you look at the front cover of the book.
Yeah, I love that
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Flexible. I love that it's flexible and you can use your creativity and wow, and you're right. When I was looking through it, I was thinking that it seemed like you could use it for kids that were older than 5 as well. But
yeah, definitely.
You brought back so many memories, like I said, of when our son was especially from birth to 5, but 6 and 7 as well, up into that, and how important all that is. And he was an only child, so I had every phase that he went through was the only time that I got to have that phase. So luckily, I remember reading somebody saying that to, instead of thinking of it as the terrible twos, think of it as the terrific twos. I think it might have been Wayne Dyer, in fact, in his What Do You Really Want for Your Children tape program that I got before Xander was born. And, think about each phase as being special in its own way, and when they're twos, too, that they start saying no a lot. And part of it is because I hear you saying no a lot. You start
right. They're imitating. They're definitely imitating. And that's what you want the kids to do at that point: imitate, repeat everything you do. So.
But the funny thing, this is the funniest thing about it, though, is that I remember when he was starting to say his first sentences, one of the first sentences he said was, "Mommy, where are you?" And I'm thinking, where did he get that? And then I'm realizing that I'm saying all the time to him, "Xander, where are you?" Even though our house wasn't that big. It's like, "Xander, where are you?" So, he just put Mommy in front of it and said, "Where are you?"
Right, and he picked it up. That's good. He asked the question,
Yeah, you start realizing, though, that they really do pick up what you say and what you do, not just what you tell them to do or tell them to say. So, wow, yeah. So, now, talking and interacting with your child or children, why is this message so important to convey to parents, especially at this point in time?
Okay, so it's really important for parents to talk and interact with their little ones because the more words a child hears on a daily basis, the more prepared they are when they go to school. So by third grade, children, if they're hearing more words, tend to have bigger vocabularies, more extensive vocabularies, and be stronger readers than probably little ones that are not exposed to, in a language-rich environment. So it impacts, their academic abilities as they're moving forward. So it's so important. And the reason why hearing words before age 3 is so important is because before age 3, early childhood is a critical time in a child's brain development. And I know a lot of people don't realize this, but over 85% of our physical brain growth occurs in the first 3 years of our life. And so what's happening is the kids, the little ones, they're making connections. And if caregivers or parents aren't stimulating their children, then they can't make the connections, and they don't have that same level of vocabulary or same language skill that maybe their peer might have if somebody is talking and stimulating and engaging the child in various activities. So it's so important. So the simple message is to parents is basically just like the title says, talk, play, and read with your child every day. Talking, playing, and reading with your child every day helps with the brain development, self-esteem, vocabulary skills, and it's also a really good key predictor for, future success in school. So it all begins that parents have an understanding that the majority of, like I had mentioned earlier, that the majority of learning opportunities occur during regular daily routines and playtime during that birth through 5 period, which is so important. So, it's like I said, it's just that simple stimulation of talking, playing, and reading, up to, say, 15, 20 minutes a day throughout the daily routines. And that's very doable, I think. So.
Well, also I've been looking at the cover of the book, which I have to say I love the cover art, and I've worked with my husband in his graphic design and photography business since 1985, and part of the reason I got into it was because I love working on layout for books and publications, publishing design. I love it. Whoever did the illustration and the type and the whole thing for it, it just is so attractive. It just draws.
I know, it's inviting, right?
It's very inviting.
Because that's the thing, like the little boy. Yes, the boy is reading the book, and that's what kids do. They use their imagination, they're dreaming, they're thinking. And then if you notice, besides the fact the interactive activities within the book, so there's an activity right off the bat, because on the back of the book, there's 3 rows of toys. So you can actually do an I Spy game right off the bat by looking at the back of the book and saying, oh, there's a duck. Can you find the duck in the rainbow of toys over the boy's head? And there you go, game number 1. So that even makes it more fun, I think, and like an explosion of toys.
That's really cool. I liked the back, but I hadn't figured out why it was like that. But that makes so much sense.
Well, can I just tell you Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Well, before you do that, I just wanted to say I just love, though, that it's talk, play, mommy. Because it's talk first, play second, read third. Because so many people hear, oh, read to your child, but they forget about that talking with them matters and that playing with them matters. So I love that.
Definitely.
You have all three, and that it's even in that order, though: talk, play, and read with me. So.
Yeah, I had to think about that. When I wrote the title, I came up with a few different titles. I don't recall what the beginning ones were. It was something around this idea here, but I remember in the middle of the night one night, after, giving it a little more thought, all of a sudden this came to me and I thought, oh, this is the title I want. So it's so funny that you mentioned this book. It's like I said, when I wrote the book, it was a process. I didn't exactly know what I was doing, but it's funny how different phases come to you, like the illumination stage and following. And I had the whole book ready, right? And then I submitted it to the publisher, and they said, well, what's going to be the cover art on the back? And I thought, oh, no, I totally forgot about the back of the book. So luckily, yes, exactly. I was thinking, oh, my gosh, what am I going to put on the back? And I had purchased a package of graphics, that I used within the interior of the book. And lo and behold, I came across this image, and it matched the exact toys on the front. I was so happy. So it just goes to show you that things will come together, even though you'd always, it's like the theme of the book. If you're interacting with a child and, you may think that your child is not developing on the regular path of typical language. So it's a process. And it takes time, and, the book provides the ideas, and it gives you creative ways to engage your child and help them with their communication skills. So what I'm trying to say is it's a process working with a child. It's a process when writing a book. So we don't always have the answers, but things do come slowly to us. It's a matter of being patient and creative.
Right, and you have to start taking action so that you can know whether this worked or not, and get some feedback from not just other people, but the universe even, and from your inner being, going, does this feel right? Does this feel like the right way to go with this,
Right, because every child acquires language at a different rate. Every child learns in, different modes. There could be an auditory learner, a visual learner, a hands-on learner. So this book will target all groups for the issue of learning and communicating. So that's why it's very diversified, I would say. So diversified approach to learning.
Yeah, definitely. So how can families benefit from creating routines together right now during this time when we're all stuck at home?
Okay, well, of course, routines are, our sense of normalcy, and that way we kind of have a sense of stability. And now that in this situation, there's a lot of change due to this COVID-19 virus, and of course all the schools closing down and what have you. So I think what's important is when the family has, established routines, it creates a sense of normalcy for the child no matter what's going on. So I think children find calmness and stability through elements of routine, such as we have our meal times, our play times, any daily routines daily routines during the day. Include getting your kid on a schedule. So, for example, with our little ones, you want to try to, get them to take their naps, sleep well at night, eat healthy, full meals, healthy play, learning, reading, playing, talking, to reduce any kind of, anxiety, because children sense things just like we sense. So for example, your child, knows when it's time to go to bed. Let's put them to bed, instead of keeping them up and, going crazy all through the hours, because you want to, again, follow those sensible routines. Routines help to bond a family together through those meal times. So, for example, maybe a child notices that every Saturday morning they're having breakfast together, and they find that important. They can see that family time is, special. And even if your child is young, they will pick up, on these traditions. The family bonds together by doing regular important things together. So also, let's see, what else I'm trying to think of. With routines, children learn over time when it's time to, for example, simple things like brush their teeth or put their pajamas on.
Mhm.
They know what they're supposed to do, and it gives them that sense of responsibility and being independent. And then again, so for example, if there's the learning aspect going on, with moms and dads right now and caregivers and grandparents,
Mhm.
just creating this atmosphere where you have those routines continuing, but of course you're going to have to incorporate some playful moments and then also the academic moments where they need to learn and learn their numbers, learn their colors, learn their alphabet. Just try to incorporate them throughout the day, a little bit at a time so they're not too overwhelmed, but have
Mhm.
that regular schedule going too. And of course, that you could create schedules that children could benefit that are visual schedules. Maybe you have a child that needs to see it on paper with stickers, something like that.
Mhm. Mhm.
Maybe another child might, I don't know, benefit just by talking about it through the day with you. Another
Mhm.
child, I'm trying to think of other ways that we could set up schedules for the kids. I think the most important is the visuals with stickers. I think that's really important. So I work with the little ones at home, and parents are always telling me that, they have the charts out there that help
Mhm.
them see what's expected, every half hour or so. And then if a kid follows through with the routine, they earn stickers. So it's almost like a reward system, which is very
Mhm.
helpful.
Mhm.
So if that
Yeah,
makes
I remember
sense.
us having a visual. I ordered a visual type thing about what for chores and things like that when Xander was a little guy, and it was helpful to be able to see what was expected. We didn't end up doing the rewards and the check marks or whatever, stickers the whole
Mhm.
time, and didn't
Mhm.
really end up lasting that long. But it was helpful when I look back on it because of the idea of what things were expected throughout morning or afternoon or evening or weekends or things like that. So, and what, when you were talking about this routine idea of the routine and creating some sort of normal routine during this time of craziness, it
Mhm.
also reminded me that for us as adults, especially when you're used to going to an office and going to work or whatever, to be at home and all of a sudden have the kids there and to be trying to work and everything, you need to have some sort of routine so that you could feel more comfortable too, not just the kids.
Right. I know it's having an effect on everybody. So for sure, it's very important, the routines. And then if you have a child that maybe I think the visual schedule really helps because maybe you have a child that really can't understand verbal directions as well as another child. So that's why I think auditorily and visually they're both good concepts, but I think visually is your best bet. So they see the routines, one after another, what to expect, and they'll be able to comprehend that. Well, it's time to do our reading. Well, now it's time to play and do some silly games, and now it's time to go back to coloring, just so they have an idea what to expect throughout the day. So
Yeah,
I think that would
yeah.
help. Mhm.
Yeah, that
So.
makes a lot of sense. And if they're in school or preschool or like our son went to excuse me, when he was really little he started out with preschool with extended daycare, where it was mostly
Mhm.
daycare, but there's a little bit of it. And that was at like 18 months, and then they went to this is up to around age 5, I think, just before kindergarten. And then they went
Okay.
to 2 days and then 3 days and then 4 days and then 5 days, but it was each time they were getting a little bit more of the preschool and a little less of the daycare part of it.
Oh,
And then
gotcha.
that really
Right.
helped prepare him for going to kindergarten. So because he was used to having those
Because
routines. Yeah, and I
yeah, and
remember
it's in
I
the
have
school. I was gonna say real quick, in the school, it's so structured. Like you said, the routines. They know step by step what they're expected to do. I'm sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
Oh no, that's okay. That's okay. But I also was going to say though, I have a girlfriend that is still a good friend of mine who had a son that was 8 months older than our son, and she was not working full time, so she was having a nanny come in a couple of days a week or whatever, so she could go do errands and do things like that. But she wasn't having him have to go to the preschool with the extended daycare. And she says, looking back on it, she really wishes that he had had that experience because of the fact that it helped them you're like you're saying with the routine, and also with getting used to being with the other kids and sharing your toys. Not having everything be all about you.
Yes, that's the socialization aspect of it. That interactive play with other kids, learning to, socialize and self-regulate with your emotions and communication. So many different skills when you're socializing, interacting with others. That's really a key component, of course. So. And then there's also the idea that we need the routines, but you can also jump away from it and let kids be bored, and then maybe let them tap into their own imagination to decide, well, gee, I'd like to do this instead. Give them a few moments throughout the day to just let them explore and be imaginative and creative. Maybe they can act out their favorite zoo animal. They can act out their favorite wrestler. Maybe a princess, just different ideas so they can, tap into their imagination. That's important too. So
I love that. Yeah. I
kind of self-discovery, right? During crazy times. So.
Yeah, because, both, in my opinion, I agree with you totally that both are important, to have some sort of routine, but also to have it be flexible so that you can add creativity in there. Because if you have everything be too rigid in life, that doesn't allow for creativity. So I think that being willing to be flexible
and maybe
is important.
Maybe a game of charades or something. They can think about anything they want to be while they're playing that game, or you just give them. I think in charades, don't we give them a little phrase and they have to act it out? I think something like that without talking, right? I believe in charades, a little game.
I don't remember charades that well myself, but.
I think that's what you do. I think you give the kid or little one. You tell them they have to act out, say, Superman, and they have to act it out, and the other kids have to recognize who they're acting, what they're trying to convey to their style.
Oh, okay.
So games like that, just creative games. I'm thinking of all kinds of I Spy, just little things to let kids, be who they want to be for a while. So.
I used to love that game in the car, I Spy with my little eye, something that's green, and then you have to see something that's green instead.
Right.
And I Spy with my little eye, something that's blue or whatever. And I guess you could do that around the house too, though.
Oh, yeah. And in my book, I have searching for colors, or hunting for colors, searching for shapes. I have card games when you're going on a ride, talk about what you see. I know there's an I Spy game in here. There's so many different ways to stimulate the kids' minds. So they won't necessarily be bored, but of course it just taps into the creativity. Let them, think about other things than just the typical academic routine of it all. So that's what the book's all about. So.
Well, creativity is so important in my opinion, and what makes me really sad is when I hear adults saying that they're not creative, and it's so ridiculous. We're all creative. It's just some of us actually know it and believe it, and some people don't. And
you got to tap
into
it.
Yeah,
right.
You have to
Everybody's creative.
You
just have to tap into it. You got to take the time to maybe a little quiet time, because things come to you when you're quiet. That's for sure. So a little quiet time, and think about what it is you like to do, an outlet, a creative outlet. That's what my books are all about. So it allows me to tap into my creativity, which makes me very happy. So and same with you. So
yeah, exactly. I was just thinking though that the routines for so many people are so different right now than not just than their regular, but all of us from each other, because depending on, for example, if you live alone, if you're married, if you have one kid at home, or if you have 3 or 4 or more at home, it totally changes the dynamics of what it is. And so for people who live alone and people like me that are living with my husband and my cat at this point, then there's more time for that quiet time to meditate and to write my morning pages and do all those things. I can't even imagine what it would be like, though, to be somebody who has 2, 3, 4 kids, especially during this whole time when they're all at home.
I know. Well, here's so I work for the Buffalo Schools, and we were designated to start teletherapy, with our kids from school. And you have teachers, speech therapists who actually have their own children and are, their home school teacher right now. So it's difficult to juggle all that. So I don't know. So it's just, like you said, you just have to get in a routine and somehow balance it out and just do your best. That's the theme. It has to be do your best. Otherwise you get too overwhelmed. So it's something coming at you.
I remember in the 4 Agreements he talked about always do your best, but one of the things that I loved that he said about in there is that your best isn't necessarily the same every day.
True, that is true.
Yeah,
I agree.
So
you can't
perform.
yourself. I know. I realize that just from the regular work schedule. Some days you can pump out so much and be so energetic and interactive and all that, and then other days you're just tired. So you just can only do the best you can do each day because you're just not wired to give it your all every day. Things happen in life that affect your
we're
emotions.
All human. Yeah, we're all human, and we all have emotions, and we all have other people and other things that.
Yeah, lots of things going on in life that we don't even. We're not aware of everybody's, their life issues or what have you, and we're not supposed to be aware. So that's a whole other topic about kindness, being gracious, all of that. So, because we never know what other struggles people have. So, and the same with children, of course, with children.
Kindness is so important. And I think also one of the things that this whole pandemic thing has reminded me, and I think a lot of people of, is that we don't know what's going on for other people, and to be kind because they might have something really horrible happening in their life, or even something bad or stressful or sad, and we don't know about it. And whether or not they do, it's important to be kind. But, to just give people the benefit of the doubt, and even if you have differences, to look for the similarities and to choose to be kind. Because kindness is a choice. It's not, I'm born kind, and you're not.
Right.
It's a choice that we can make at any time in our life to be kind to ourselves and to each other,
Yeah.
Okay, the time is
flying. I totally agree.
We've only got about 12 minutes left, though, and there's so much more that we can talk about. So what are 5 interactive activities for children and parents to enjoy while they're in quarantine?
Okay, so I have the activities within the book. There's meal times, and there's in particular picnic time, which allows the children to bring their teddy bears and maybe their figures, their wrestling figures or superhero figures, Marvel characters, what have you. They can bring them to the table for their snack time or meal time or lunch time, and they can interact. It's a whole idea is that you allow the children to ask their furry friend, what do they want for lunch, or do you need a cup, or do you need a spoon? It allows them to ask WH questions. It allows them to, increase their sentence building skills. It allows them to incorporate vocabulary. It definitely allows them to use their imagination and role play. So that's a good one, I think.
I love
like
that.
I mentioned earlier, it's fun for them to, sometimes kids don't even want to eat. So why not let them bring their furry friends and interact during these meal times? Because you've got a lot of kids that are picky eaters. So if you bring the little furry friends in, it just makes it easier on the parents. So they don't have to, beg their kid to come to the table, right? So unfortunately, sometimes that's the way it is.
I think this is fantastic. I'm going to tell everybody I know about this book. Okay, so what's another one?
Well, then speaking of, if we're continuing it, there's another game in there. What color? I think it's What Color Did You Eat? Something like that. Something like that, where the premise is you can, during the meal, ask the kids what color foods they're eating and talk about the brown meatballs, the red spaghetti, the green lettuce, and what have you. Just be very descriptive with color words. And then after the meal's all over, you can ask your child, well, what color did you eat for dinner tonight? What did you have on your plate? What color were your meatballs? And they're going to, it's a recall game. And then they're also going to build those sentences and answer the WH questions. See, what else is there? I mentioned the searching for shapes. Simply the parent just has to, cut up some green triangles and construction paper, or if they just have white computer paper, just color up a green triangle, a red circle, an orange rectangle, and they can search around the house for different objects or toys that represent the shape that they have, that they picked out. They can put the shapes in a bag, and again, searching for shapes throughout the house.
It's almost like an Easter egg hunt, but with shapes. I love that.
Yes. And you can, it'll be fun, and you can go in the backyard too if you can get outside, or the front yard. Same, you're going to find green trees. I don't know what colorful things you're going to find. Like right now, spring is starting to bloom in Buffalo, New York. But in any case, there's things out there outside. So just to get that fresh air, then you can come back, talk about the shapes and the objects that match up with the shapes, and you could also Mom could write down the words of each shape. Say it's a pillow that was shaped like a rectangle, and then she could help the child read the word and sound it out and talk about the beginning, middle, and final consonants in the word. And then the same thing with hunting for colors, same thing. You're just going to look for, red things, green things, purple things, blue objects, green objects throughout the house, and maybe do a math game where you find out which color object did you find the most of. So, and then, of course, we have our fun and interactive finger play songs, Five Little Monkeys, I'm a Little Teapot, The Wheels on the Bus, all the kids love anything that allows them to move. They're going to target their fine motor and gross motor skills. They're going to target vocabulary skills, socialization skills, attention skills, and enjoy the music and dance and fun that goes with it. What else do we have? Trying to think. Playful reading. Of course, read, because that's what we need to do, at least a little bit during the day with the little ones. Let them pick out their favorite books. This can, you can start even as young as with like the infant. You're just going to be talking about what you see. You can take their little finger and have them point to the little teddy bear in the book, picture books, chunky board books, flip up books. So because the kids are going to be able to, the little ones are going to be able to make connections with the pictures and the words when they hear them. And of course, of the older, I'm talking about toddlers and preschoolers, they're hopefully beginning to want to engage in reading activities with the books. And you can even, there's another reading game in the book called Silly Stories, where you're reading a story and you're switching up some of the vocabulary words. So this way they're listening. So how about we say, 4 little tigers were jumping on the bed. You want them to recognize, Mom, it's not a tiger, it's a monkey. So just mixing things up, making it fun. So.
Oh my gosh, this is fantastic.
There's so many different things. The play spaces, pretend space. You can set up forts, and you could set up your own theme. You can make it a school. You could make it a shopping store. You can make it a library, and just bring as many props as you can. Putting 2 chairs together with a blanket. Just kids love being imaginative.
It's so funny because hearing you talk about these things. My mom had 5 of us. I'm the first of 5, and she loved kids, and she loved playing with us and talking with us and reading with us and having us do activities. And we grew up with all of those things, and it's no wonder we're looking back on it why I love books and music and art and movies and all sorts of things that are creative, is because I started out with having that. And wow,
exposed to that. And it's really taking things back to the basics, because that's right now we have no choice. I mean, and of course you have your screen time, but you don't want your kid on the computer, the iPad and the tablet all day long. So you want to mix it up a little bit. It's okay to have some screen time, and my book does come in. It's an ebook, also an interactive ebook, which is so fun. It's very colorful, full of animation, sound effects. It's really colorful. It's really fun.
Is that a Kindle book, or is that some other kind of book?
Well, you can download it at Google Play and iTunes. So it's called Talk Play with Me, Mommy Interactive Ebook, and it's just it has, like I said, the interactiveness of it all. It's the animation, there's audio spots. What did I say? Animation, color, lots of color. It really is fun. I have to say, it's so fun. So that's available for the iPad and tablet, and all these learning games, like I said, are on there. And it's not that you're going to be stuck on the iPad. It's kind of a colorful backdrop to give you those ideas of what to do. But like I said, there's the audio spot, so then the kids can hear. If we're talking in the early infant stage or the later infant stage, it's just going to be a simple phrase. And then in the toddlers, it's more of a phrase to a sentence, and then a little more complex sentence in the preschool section. But just, ideas of how to build those sentences and interact. So
that's really cool.
Always working
so
on communication skills.
You can get it on iTunes, right? So I should be able to get it on iTunes on my Macintosh computer. I'm going to look into that later. Okay, we've got 4 minutes left. I can't believe it. So
okay.
You're working on a book for dads, too. So is that going to be very different than this, or is it mainly that it's focusing on dads?
Here's the idea. So it's going to, of course, be the same title, Talk, Play, and Read with Me, Daddy, Interactive Activities to Enhance Your Child's Language Development from Birth to 5, or age 5. So the idea behind this, the Daddy book, it's going to have an extra chapter of Daddy and Me bonding activities, like a bonus chapter. It's going to have a little bit of difference on the mommy book. It has a little boy. The daddy book's going to have a little girl, but with the same graphic with the toys floating over her head. And it's pretty similar in contents within the book, but the premise behind it is the fact that it allows mom and dad to bond with the child together so they can do the activities together. So dad has an idea and mom has an idea, and everybody can join, and it's going to promote bonding within the family. And then, of course, if the dynamic of the family is a single dad or grandpa or uncle, he can use it solo on his own. So I think it's a personal touch for dads, because when I'm at these book events, so for especially when we're selling the books at baby events where moms are coming in, they're going to have their baby pretty soon, and expecting moms, they always are. The dads sometimes are joining the mom, and they're like, well, where's the book for the dad? And I'm thinking, that's kind of what made me think, well, yeah, we should have a book for dads, and it puts a huge smile on their face. So it's just that idea that, because generally it's always about mommy. So,
well, and you're right. I mean, even if it has almost all the same content, the dads are going to like it, saying Talk, Play, and Read with Me, Daddy, having their version that they can take with them, and the moms, they would feel funnier reading the one about the mommy. So I think that's perfect. We only have 2 minutes left, though, so what would you like to leave our listeners with? As I was thinking of the books, readers. But what's something quick?
Well, okay, so I think the important thing is to know that every child has a voice, and we just have to be there for our little ones to kind of engage them in various activities, simple routines in the home, and let them talk about, things they're doing. Be patient, be present, be kind. I guess and just know that, every child is going to learn at a different rate. Don't have, major expectations right away. Again, being patient, giving them a chance to learn, and they will, and they'll enjoy every step along the way. So the most important thing is be patient and, enjoy every moment, because it goes so fast. And the book is, like I said, just to help. It's so helpful to allow parents and children to bond together and, enjoy those moments together. So.
Yeah, that's so true. And people can find out more about you and your books at talkplayandread.com, correct?
Correct, yes.
Yeah, talkplayandread.com. I love that. That's a great website. Oh, the time has gone by so quickly. I wish I had you on for even longer, but I'm so glad that I did. And I highly recommend that people share this with their family and friends and get your book, at least one of this one, and then later get the Daddy one, too, and the interactive one.
Right.
Well, thank you, JoAnn.
It's great. Thank you. I really appreciate it, Margaux. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you. I just really appreciate what you're doing, and it reminded me of so many things with growing up with my mom and then also with our son. And it occurs to me you're probably going to need to do another one later, Talk, Read, and Play with Me, Grandma or Grandpa.
Guess what? I was just talking to a boy that I mentor about that over the weekend, and I said, should it be grandparents? He said, no, Miss JoJo, you have to make it Grandma and Grandpa.
Yeah.
So personalized,
Okay.
yeah, that is something I'm going to be thinking about. So thank
Okay,
you.
cool. All right. Well, thanks so much. And everyone out there, get the book, read it, have fun talking, playing, and reading to your children and other people's children as well. Bye for now, everyone. Remember to live your music this week and next week and forever. Bye, JoAnn.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much. 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 Bye-bye. Thank you so much.